Hello everyone, welcome back to another video where I show you how to make this Dark Souls 3 inspired environment in Blender. In this video I'm going to show you the setup I'm using for the vines, which I haven't started adding to the scene yet, but I've got it ready here. And just a quick thing to quickly go over, since the last video I added the rest of the textures to the objects, so there should be no longer any white in the scene, everything should be nice and textured. And I think at the moment it looks pretty nice, it looks a lot better than before. I've also added a sun into the background so I can actually see in render mode what everything sort of looks like, which at the moment it's looking pretty nice. Kind of like this, I'll show you in a more how it will look like in the real thing. So at the moment this is what we've got. All the bricks are textured, all these kind of ground faces are textured and everything like that. And the front here I'm going to change a little bit, but for now I'll just put these textures just simple to have something there. And I think this is looking a lot nicer, so I'm going to come out of that, go back, and that is what I've added since the last video. Also, one more thing I wanted to mention was for this ground here, let me turn off the modifier, I've added a bit of displacement. So I downloaded just a general ground texture from Polyhaven. If I'm able to find that again, I'll put it in the description. And what I did was I went to the materials here, scroll down to the settings and surface, and I made the displacement and bump. So in my shading tab I've actually included the displacement this time and added the scale a little bit higher than the default amount, and now you can see it's kind of raising up through the floor. If I increase that, don't want to do it too much, but right now I've got it at just 0.71. Seems to be a pretty nice amount. Make sure the scale's applied as well. And for this to work you need a higher poly plane, which I've obviously got because I need to do the kind of vertex selection for making the grass pop through at the correct place, and I added that down here as well, and it's got the same material here, and I think it looks best in this area back here. So it's very slight, but it makes a huge difference. It makes the whole area look a lot less flat, which is great. That's exactly what we wanted. So I've also added the textures up to these bits as well. Might change some later, but for now this is looking pretty nice. So for the vines, the way I am going to do it, I've had a look at a couple different options, but I think the best way is through this geometry node setup, which I'll show you here right now. It is pretty complex, and I'm not really much of a geometry nodes person. I'm not so good at this area. This setup I used from a different YouTube tutorial, which I will include in the description, a link to, for a YouTuber called Ryan King Art. He's quite big, makes Blender videos, and his setup for vines actually works really well. I use them a lot of my other renders. What you can do once you've set this up or paid for it is you can create a geometry, a curve, I forget what it's called, I haven't used them in a while. It's just called a Bezier curve. You can use a Bezier curve, and I'll show you here. For example, if I grab this handle, I can kind of just move it about a bit, or extrude. You can even extrude multiple kind of directions, and you can play about with a lot of it, and the leaves kind of just sort themselves out, which works really well. And all you need to do is have a couple extra leaves in a collection at the side. I think these ones are incorrectly, so it doesn't really matter about the normals of this because it's only a flat plane anyway, and in render mode in layout it will look the same on both sides. So I'll show you here. It's quite dark here, but it's just a simple leaves texture that I've literally just added now. So if I go to shading, I've kind of simplified the setup because I don't really want too much detail on these leaves, but I've literally just grabbed a simple, I'll see if I can show you while I open it up. So it's just like this one here. It's just a leaves texture that I've put over the UV map. So here it creates this kind of look. I'll see if I can zoom in and find one. Just like that. It doesn't look great close up, but we're not going to be close up. The camera's going to be quite far back. So I'll just quickly show you the kind of thing I would do. If I go to layout view, I'll go to solid shading so I can see what I'm doing. I'll use this one. So what I like to do to start off with is just delete all the vertexes apart from one at the bottom. Grab this guy, bring it over here, and let's say I want some vines kind of going up the edge here. Just going to bring my vertex to the close kind of corner here, checking this view as well, and have a look. Just going to have it right in the corner so you can't really tell where it starts. Just around about this, right in the corner there. Now if I literally just extrude straight up, the vines are just kind of creating themselves and following curve I make, which works. It's really handy. I recommend doing this geometry node setup anyway, even if you're not gonna kind of follow along, because I made it once and now I use it in so many different renders just because it works so well, and it does look really good. Bring this down a bit so it's actually going through the floor. Then with this one, let's go like here and then kind of go up. Let's rotate that again. Just make sure it's kind of coming through. Might need to bring this down a bit. Then it's going to go up here. I want it to kind of curve around this section, so I'm just going to go like this. Can be a little bit hard to see sometimes, but that's fine. That's worked out well. And it's good to kind of get some practice in using the Bezier curves anyway, because they can be really useful with just 3D modeling in general. So just make sure it's not kind of going through the wall too much here. So I want to be able to actually kind of see what I'm doing. Something like this. Then just drag this up this way. Sometimes it can be a little bit annoying to use, but just after a bit of practice, kind of get used to it. It's going to go down this way, rotate a bit, and have it going around something like this. And I'm just going to have it going off where the camera can't really see it. Over this way, going up a bit, over this way a little bit. Doesn't have to be too perfect because you're not really going to be able to see that well that it's not exactly touching the walls here. Let's drag this down. So you can do a lot of editing to make it really perfect. Sometimes it's not exactly so necessary to do that, but I'm just kind of showing you how I'm going to go about adding these vines. So I think for now this looks okay. I'm going to extrude again to go down to add more leaves here because it was getting a bit thin, and when you add more extrusions I think it adds more leaves to the whole curves. So maybe bring this in a little bit to the side, this over, bring it down. So something like that. If I look in render mode, I'll be able to see what it actually looks like. So it's going to look something like this, and I think that's going to add a lot of detail and make this whole front face look a lot more interesting. I can even have it coming through the floor if I want, maybe coming up along these sections down the side here. I'll probably just leave it hanging, kind of make it look like it's been climbing up the wall a bit, and I'm going to add some in here as well, so I'll quickly do that just to show what I want to do. So again, I'm going to duplicate and just drag it, say, over here, and let's delete all these points. Then we've got this one down here. We'll drag it up so it's close to the underneath of the plane here. Then let's say I want it to go maybe like up and around this arch here, so I'm going to drag it down, then extrude straight upwards. We're kind of going there, extrude again over this way, rotate it, and I think from here I'm going to extrude and have it coming back to this point. Sometimes you need to rotate the whole thing as well, because if it's going backwards it's not going to look so great, but right now it's fine, it's not done that. Just going like this, rotate it again, so it looks like it's kind of slanted a little bit down this way, and maybe have it going up. I can even have it going up this kind of pillar here, just drag it around the side, just rotate our point there. Again, it's going to need a lot of making it look perfect, but doesn't need to look too perfect. As long as it's kind of something like this, I might go back and make it look even better, just do a bit of rotation, scale and whatnot, but generally that looks okay. Let's get back into this mode, to render. When looking here, you can see it just adds like a really nice detail and makes it look like nature has kind of overgrown and started to kind of take over the entire scene. So I'll add one more in this video just to show you what I'm doing, put it like up here. So again, delete all these vertexes, grab this single one here, gonna put it around about there. So I'm gonna make sure it's flat from this view, because it's gonna be a lot easier by double tapping R. Now thinking I want it to go around about, probably just up the whole mesh and coming left across and looping back around, and then it will end there. So I'm gonna go extrude straight upwards all the way to the top. Then I'm gonna go extrude, I'm gonna go shift Y because I don't want to move this in the Y axis. I'm gonna R, Y to rotate, make this a bit bigger, to make the curve a bit more natural. Same thing over here. And I'm going to extrude one more time, drag it back here, make it kind of go around as much as I can, something like that. Extrude again, bring it this way, drag it around again, maybe bring in this point here a bit. I only really care about how it looks on this side, because this side the camera is not going to see. Something like this. I have it up a little bit more, just to make it a bit more of an interesting shape. Maybe scale it a little bit. Maybe this one point here I can kind of curve down. And I think that looks quite cool. But again, back into render mode, and that looks nice. I really like that. I think it's already quite it already looks like there's enough kind of detail here with the different textures and different shapes we've got, but those vines will just make it look that one step further. It's already quite unsymmetrical. I don't know if that's the right word, but non-symmetrical probably with the top, but the bottom is quite similar on both sides, so these vines are going to make it look a lot nicer and kind of natural. So I'm going to keep adding that to my scene. I'm definitely going to add some vines to this section here, because it's already looking quite interesting, so the vines can maybe look like it's coming up and around and then attaching to here. I'm going to do one more thing in this video just to show you, because I think it would look really nice if we have some vines kind of hanging from one section going down up to another section. So my 2 points will be here and up here, so same thing as usual. This is quite big, so I'm probably gonna I'll use this one, duplicate it, then come around about here. I'm gonna delete all the points, so I only have one. Delete that one as well. So I want it coming from here down to this one over here. So first I'm going to kind of point the cursor in the direction, not the cursor, but the I'm going to make sure this line, this green line, is pointing in the direction of the other pillar I want, around about that. Then I'm going to go E to extrude, drag it along straight to this one. That's obviously way too straight right now. I'm also going to extrude this, or move it along so it's kind of in the middle here. If I drag both and then click subdivide, I can get a point in the middle. Just drag this down, extend it out a little bit, drag it all the way down if I want. It's kind of up to me how far I want this to go down, maybe something around about like this. Then of course I need to make it look a bit more natural, so it's like going around the top a bit, maybe coming down at some points. If I go into render mode now, as you can see that's kind of hanging down there. And I always find that hanging things like this, you can even do it with those like party ribbons, forgot what they're called now, but anything like string or rope that's kind of hanging from one point going down to another, I think always adds like a nice touch to the scene. So if we look in camera mode now and zoom in, it's going to look a lot nicer. And with the vines I can really add as much detail as I want. So if I want to really overdo it, I can do. If I want to just add a few bits like here and there, I can do that as well. So it's nice and it works really well. It's not too taxing on your PC, so you know it's quite optimized. And I think, yeah, this will add a really nice look. And at this point, I think we're getting near the end of the scene. One more thing I might do now is add a HDRI to the scene. So let's do that. I'm going to go to shading, turn on render mode, quickly delete the current sun I have because it doesn't look very good. We go to world preview. Then if I look for environment texture and add Control T for the texture mapping. Okay, so I've literally just downloaded a pretty basic sky background. If I add that now, it gives us a lot more kind of natural lighting. And obviously there isn't really many shadows, so I need to do a bit of work on the lighting. And I'm going to quickly see what I can do to add some more kind of shadows, because right now it's sort of deleted them all, which isn't exactly what I was looking for. What I think I'm actually going to do, and I believe I had this problem before with a different scene I was making, is sometimes the HDRIs just don't really give much shadows. And I think what I changed before was literally just adding a different HDRI, so I'm going to quickly try that. The reason I didn't do it before was because I think the HDRI I picked last time is, like this one for example, is a bit too kind of nice looking for the scene I've created. Like this looks really, really nice. But if it gives good lighting, then that is the main thing. You can already tell it looks very kind of golden and really, really nice. But if I change strength to 1 and then kind of rotate the scene a little bit, you can play around with the shadows. I kind of want the shadows falling forwards from the camera's perspective, a bit like this, and I think that looks really, really nice, but definitely a bit too nice and colorful. So what I even could do is I can come here, add a hue saturation value node, I can just turn down the saturation a little bit. If I go all the way, it's just going to become a boring kind of grey color. This scene is supposed to be based off Dark Souls, and Dark Souls is a very kind of desaturated, sort of grayed out environment. Also going to change our HDRI again because I don't really want to use the X because that's going to make everything the wrong way. Just play with the Z a bit, the right kind of angle, something like this. I think. Let's have a look at the background as well. Something like, yeah, like this. I think works nice. Oh, just accidentally undid it. Something like this. Now, if I change the value, it's just going to make everything black and white. Change the hue, it's going to change the color a bit. So I want to keep everything as it is, only play with the saturation. Move it down to like a 0.5. I think that looks good. If I want to shade the value a little bit as well, I can do. Maybe just a little bit darker, like a 0.8. And I think that looks good. If I check in my camera view, I'll actually go back to layout for that. So I have a bit of a bigger screen too. Check how that looks. I think this actually looks okay, but let me see. The clouds in the background look quite good now that I've done that slight editing to the saturation and everything. Unfortunately, in this case, you can't actually see, or can you? I think you can kind of see the sea in the background, but it's a little bit hard to really tell what that actually is. And I might add things back there anyway, just something really simple like a wall, or just something very basic so it's not just emptiness and it actually looks like there's something back there. Maybe like stairs leading down, I would imagine, to like a new kind of area if this was in a real game. Obviously it's not, so I don't need to worry about adding too much back there. And I think for now everything is looking a lot better. Definitely coming near the end of the environment here. Just want to make the fire here, add some extra textures, add all my vines everywhere, and yeah, I think everything at the moment is looking really good. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.